not, I don't know. I just think it's, I don't know.
Well, I worry about my father now because he's by himself, you know. If something would happen, because they would never tell us. If she told me before she died, you know, she had this aortic dissection, and about the time she got over that, Scott and Tria came to visit, and Boss passed out in a restaurant, and he had this prostate infection. And they put him in the hospital. He was in the hospital for 10 days. That's how bad it was. And she said, well, you know, he's gotten this before. She said, you know, he got it once before. And she goes, I got up. She said, it was right after, I think, her dissection. She said, I got up to try to get him a blanket because, you know, he's sweating everything at night. And I fell on the floor and I couldn't get up. And he couldn't get out of bed to get me up. And they never said anything to any of us about it, you know? And I thought, this isn't good. You know?
No. So Frank, who checks on your dad? Is there someone?
Ben's there.
Okay.
And I don't think he sees him every day, but he sees him quite a bit. Rush calls him every day, apparently is what Rush told me, but Ben's there. Ben's 5 minutes away.
Okay.
But Boss would never tell anybody. So, but we were talking about that last night, my brother and I, because he has this lease house in Sun City, and the lease is up in February. And so Rush said, "Are you going to lease it again?" He goes, "Yeah, I think I'm going to do it because this may be the last year. Because after that, I'm probably going to have to move into some sort of like place that has, you know, can do, you know." He said, "Because I'm afraid I won't be able to drive after that." And he said, "If I can't drive, then I've got to move into something else."
Yeah.
He needed to give up his driver's license 10 years ago, so I can't really say.
How old is your dad?
He'll be 92 in February.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing he can live by himself. It really is. Yeah. And he's in pretty good. He's in good health. He's having trouble breathing. We're not quite sure what that is. I think it's that he's 91 years old, you know. but he's doing good. But I was surprised that he would even talk about moving into some sort of independent living or anything, because he and my mother talked. They call them jail cells. We'll never lived in one of those places. Those are jail cells, as your mother always said. Your dad, Steve, was smart enough to kind of move into all of that on his own. You know, he was very smart on that way of thinking.
Yeah. He was. He spared me a lot of the stress with
he did
tending to those things himself. So
you know, hi Kathleen. You know, Mamie, who has worked with, you know, patients and that kind of stuff, has always said it's better to decide for yourself what you want, where you want to go, and pick it out and make arrangements than it is to have somebody come in and say, you're going to go here.
Well, Brother Rush said, he said, you know, the problem a lot of times happens is they don't want to move into a place like that. And then something happens, and then you're scurrying around to find a place to get them in. And it may not be the best situation.
No, that's very true.
You know,
but Dad, I was lucky because when he moved over to that apartment complex, which was 10 years ago, or more than that now. But anyway, he knew people who lived there and they liked it. And it wasn't you know, an infirmary. It wasn't a nursing home, because everybody it was independent living. That changed completely while he was there.
Really?
Oh my God, yes. Everybody
because of him or because of the facility?
Oh, the whole place. All the people who were living there.
Oh, wow.
They kept aging. They kept aging and didn't get any better, but they weren't ready for nursing. So there was lots of you know, in and out nursing, and everybody's on walkers, and it got to be a completely different situation than it was when he moved in there.
Yeah.
But good for them for, you know, at least they adapted, and he was okay with it. He was happy, but it really passed away.
I was impressed your dad made that move on his own. Your dad gave up his car on his own. See, I think we're gonna be fighting my father to get up the car. That I think is gonna be a fight.
Your dad may be, yeah, that may be. But I didn't have to have that argument with him. But it wasn't really hard to arrive at that point, because by the time he was ready to give it up, it was a total piece of crap. He'd run into so much stuff, and it was so beaten up. You know, I know it sounds funny, but it really was. He knew he was driving badly.
Yeah.
And he was scared. He was scared about it, and at some point he just said no. So I arranged for us to take the car over and and sell it.
I got a funny story about that.
needed the money from the car. He needed the money, so.
I have a really funny story about that. So, we have, Kathleen and I have an Aunt Mary, or had an Aunt Mary, and we called her Aunt Home. She was
Sure.
yeah, she was a designer. And her car, she had a Honda, and well, two things. One of them is it was way time for her to give it up because she'd be driving down the street and would literally fall asleep driving.
With my mother in the car.
Yeah.
On 45 southbound to
That's right.
Houston.
She didn't know.
no.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And the yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it's funny now because the scare is over, but I mean, really. And the other one is her car had it was a Honda Accord, and it had
That's
dings and
exactly what Dad
scrapes.
said. It was a Honda Accord that was
Honda Accord.
completely dinged up all over the place.
Every corner had a something else. And you know what she'd say about it? Honey, those car parkers at the country club just put another dent in it every time I go.
It was always the car park. There or the women's club. It was the car
No, it was
parkers at the women's
car parkers
club
at that country
or
club.
the country club. Yeah.
Is that hilarious?
I admire that.
That is great.
You know?
Well,
She'd
in
get
her
away with
mind,
it.
that's where it happened because she doesn't remember any of the instances. I don't
And
think.
honey, you got to watch those car parkers at the country club.
That is funny. Frank, I think it's going to be hard for you to get your dad to do anything.
I do too. That's why I was surprised that Rush said, he said, well, next year, after this lease is up, I'm probably going to have to move. And he said, then give up the car. And I was like, give up the car? My God. Now he was just saying that. That doesn't mean he's going to do it.
Wait, Rush was saying that about your dad?
Talked to my dad. He talked to my dad this week because I said, he leases this house in Sun City. And
Oh.
in February, and he said, boss, you gonna renew? And he goes, yeah, I think I probably will. I think I can do another year, and then I'm probably gonna have to do something different and give up my car. And he goes, once you give up my car, I've got to move into like independent living. He said, because they got places they can take you. We're like,
Right.
yeah. And Ben said he told boss, he said, Ben, boss, you can come and live with us. And boss says, which I was awful nice, Ben. And boss said, I'm not living with one of my kids. That's the one I refuse to live with one of my kids.
Well, but I'm curious because where he lives, can he move into someplace that has an elevated level of care for him?
No, that's what's so odd. That Sun City, which is all for retirement, they have none of that. Now they built a bunch of them right outside there along, and that's where he'll go probably. They have a bunch of them they built, but the fact that they designed this whole Sun City for retirement, they did not do any. It's strictly for single living in single houses.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think they've ever been a continuum of care ever. They weren't designed to be that.
Yeah.
Continuum of care kind of came in after all that Sun City stuff had been
But you would
developed
think it would be a
and
really smart
marketed
thing
and
to build like an independent living thing as part of it, that you could go from there to that, and then maybe to one that's
Well, even when Dad moved to Brookdale, you could shop around, and Brookdale didn't have elevated levels of care either, although it sort of evolved into having some of that. But there are places around here that have 2 and 3 levels of care that you can go from, independent living to completely nursing kind of things, but they're very expensive.
They are.
They're very expensive, and Dad never did that, but fortunately didn't have to. But still.
Well, and I
Yeah,
also said, the other option, which we've not discussed, well, I didn't discuss any of this with my father because he won't discuss it with me, but is what Bob McCoo did. They did like a year, I think, or a year and a half, is they had in-home care. Like it started with just a girl that came in during the day and would take him to drive for him, take him to the grocery, take him to go out to eat, clean the house, cook for him. But that's expensive,
Well, yeah, see, I'm sitting here saying this, but at least where Brookdale, they could take him, they had buses to take him to the grocery store and whatnot. But he and a lot of other people had people come in just to give them baths.
Yeah.
Real basic care, not administering medicine or anything, but basically helping them take a bath.
Well, that's what Bob's dad went into that, where he was okay and he would go down and have dinner and stuff, but he needed somebody to help him get in the bath, take a bath, get dressed, that sort of thing. And then he was fine, So it wasn't like really bedridden or, he didn't really he wasn't on medication. Well, I guess he took some, but He
I would imagine if you get
getting up and getting dressed, you know.
right, if you get older and feeble, getting in and out of the bathtub or getting in and out of the shower is probably a very frightening experience.
Listen, I have trouble with that now at my age. Don't even think about it. No.
Actually, I have a little bit too because of the place where I am now and this tub I've got now. But Dad, I had to pay to get his tub, do a cutout so he can walk in and out of it, walk in and out of it.
Those are nice. They're expensive,
Yeah.
but they're nice.
They are expensive. Well, see, I have a walk-in shower, which I love.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it. But
Well, that's the only thing when I was looking for apartments. That's the only thing I really wanted that this place didn't check that off, because I wanted a walk-in shower really bad because I didn't have one at the house, and I thought
this is the
that'd be great.
first time I've had one in.
And so yeah, I've never had that, and I wish I did.
I had it growing up, but I've never had one. We had one on Lexington Road, but that was in Michael's bathroom, not mine. I had to use the other bathroom, which had the tub. But I love that. But once again, it's also got a lip on it, and if you're old, you're liable to miss that lip stepping over there, and it's slick too. That's the other problem,
Yeah.
Things get slippery.
I remember when John's dad used to come, when they would come and stay, we would have to put like a hand towel on the floor of the shower. So he wouldn't.
Oh, on the shower. Oh.
Even though there was, I'm trying to remember if it was in my shower or if it was because the shower in here, it's got enough grout where you wouldn't slip. But my shower is just one solid piece. There's no grout. So I could see how you could slip. But yeah, we just put a couple of hand towels down and let the part in the middle open where the drain was, and it had the built. The other thing I like about that is the built-in seat.
Those are nice.
Yeah, y'all don't shave your legs, but it's certainly a nice feature to have when I had my my Achilles tendon removed. I couldn't bear weight at all. So just trying to maneuver inside a shower on one leg, I couldn't bear weight at all. It was terrifying. So I would get in and I would just immediately sit on the little stool thing. And so, that only lasted for, I think it was 6 weeks, but if I hadn't had that, I probably would have had to have one of those like shower chairs. Gross.
Well, yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Still have one of that shower chairs in my storage unit because I just haven't.
Right.
When I was growing up, my grandfather in Marshall, my mother's father, they redid his shower and he had a bench in there, and we thought that was the coolest thing.
I would, if it was bigger, I would much rather have like a bench, but it's just a corner.
Looking bench at the end of
my shower's not that big.
And so Ben, we were like teenagers. Ben got the great idea. He took a wrought iron chair that Mother had out on the lawn, out in the yard, like a wrought iron chair, and put it in the shower because we had this enormous shower. And he would just get in the shower and sit there until all the hot water ran out. My mother would get so damn mad.
Oh my God! Which brother did this?
He would do it he'd come home from like school, after working out, and he'd get in there and sit down, and he'd put this, it was a wrought iron chair, like a,
yeah.
My grandfather, it was one of the chairs. My grandfather, had a pharmacy, and the ice cream chairs, that went around the ice cream table that were wrought iron, that's what it was. He had that, he set it in the shower, and he'd just sit down there and until all the hot water ran out.
Which brother was it?
Mother had no hot water for dinner. She'd be so mad.
Which brother was it, Frank?
Ben.
Oh gosh.
Second one, yeah. Oh, she'd get mad.
That's crazy.
Or he'd do it in the morning, and then the rest of us, then I'd come in afterwards, and there'd be no hot water for me to take a shower.
Wow.
But,
so Steve, I see you're sporting a Peloton shirt. Did you get a Peloton?
Oh yeah, no, I got that a while back.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Oh yeah. I actually bought that in February.
Oh, before the pandemic.
Yeah, but it arrived here just exactly when the pandemic started.
That's great.
And there's different reasons I did that, but it worked out well because I completely dropped the gym membership when all of this started.
I did.
And
well, you had to, didn't you? I mean,
I did it
for a long time. You did, yes. They weren't even open for a long time. Open.
I did it before they closed because I was like, I'm not going to go back there for. I mean, I saw what was going on in Europe, and I knew it was going to be months over here, and I thought, nope.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I did the same thing, and it was hard for me to do because but particularly the place I loved the best was over here at Mockingbird and Lemon, to where I'd go on Saturdays to my spin class.
Right by me, yeah.
You know, and it was I enjoyed that so much, but that place really wasn't that clean before the pandemic came.
Oh,
And you definitely don't want to do it during.
And I just said, I'm out.
yeah.
But
So-
I told Lucy, speaking of dirty places, there's a hamburger joint, y'all know Chips Hamburgers, which was over on.
oh, you told me this too. You told me this too.
And the
Yeah.
the one over here by my house, it was so dirty. It was like God only knows how much grease was on the salt and pepper shakers. And Lucy was just like, I'm not going anymore. And so since COVID, it is spotless.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It has been scrubbed from top to bottom.
Well, have they closed y'all down more since all the y'all having spikes? We've like gone through the roof here.
We
and we're
had,
basically closed back down.
where was it was it Texas or was it that had 3,000 cases yesterday, one day? And a month ago in October, we had 76.
Well,
See,
but just the country yesterday had 100,000 cases.
I know.
And
Well,
so,
like,
and Texas is actually a hot spot. It is actually a hot spot.
well, Kentucky is, like I said, and ours seems small compared to other people. We used to would have like maybe 200 cases a day. We're not having like 1,500, 1,800, 2,000 cases a day. We're a small state.
Yeah.
And the governor, and unfortunately, Jefferson County, we're, Louisville, we're the hottest spot. We got the most cases. So
Were your bars reopened, Frank, full capacity?
they had
before?
opened them, but then they and they're still open, but they might as well be. They had curfew at 10 o'clock on the bars, so they have to close at 10 o'clock. Well,
But are they 100% open?
they
they
were. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like full
Restaurants
capacity or half capacity.
They were not full capacity, 25%, 30%
Yeah.
capacity,
Yeah.
30%. And
Well,
now
were the ones in Dallas were the ones in Dallas full capacity?
No, they're not yet. Not that I know of,
I don't
because
think we ever got to full
our
capacity. I think
brilliant
the last
governor
we got
is overseeing all of that.
was maybe, was it 75%, Steve, that we got to?
I think they
Or was
got.
bars 50%?
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't paid. I don't know because I
We
haven't paid.
never got to full capacity.
but
It doesn't. No, that I know of because it.
I reckon our deal is now, because he's kind of sits down, is recommendation is no, if you can work from home, no offices, no business meetings, no gatherings of any number, no family gatherings, nothing of any number outside of the house. Don't
Wow.
go outside of the house unless it's absolutely necessary. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. So that kind of puts a damper on Thanksgiving for a lot of people.
It's true. I was just talked to Lucy about this last week, and I can't remember, Steve, if we talked about this at lunch or not, but
Yeah, we did.
she's just come off the radiation, and her roommate Janet has just come off chemo less than a year ago. And so they don't go anywhere. The grocery store is it.
They're
So
even telling us not to do the grocery store. Now I have to do the grocery store. They're telling us don't do that. Order it, do it curbside.
well, yeah, a lot of people just do the home delivery. But I'm like Lucy, I got to pick out my own produce.
I
Me
have to go to
too.
the grocery.
Amen. Thank you.
I have to go
Yeah,
to the grocery.
I can't have some. Now, if I'm just getting a loaf of bread and a jar of mayonnaise, that's fine.
you are not going to pick out my apples.
Right. That's the
No.
big too.
Absolutely not. Or my head of lettuce.
Or my
Or my-
tomatoes.
or my
I'm
green
picking my own tomatoes.
Or tomatoes. Totally.
I'm even picky about my celery because celery has just gone down the tubes lately. It's horrible.
You know what? So has lettuce. Lettuce is like
Lettuce looks like crap.
That's why I said they're not touching my lettuce either.
Listen to us.
Well, they might be able to get me a banana,
Throw
but
it in the backyard. That's what you need. Yeah, throw it in the backyard.
throw it in the backyard.
it's
Okay, so it was when we were talking about the bars earlier, I was like, okay, 4 out of 4 of us 20 years ago would have known exactly when they open, when they close, how many they'd let in, where, which are the ones, we do all that. We're all like, now, are they open or are they closed? Do they?
And we'd have gone from we'd have taken one to the other to check. We'd called ahead and say, can you get us in? Can you get us in? So we'd have gone from one to the other just to make sure we got in. Yeah.
Exactly. And we certainly wouldn't have known anything about whether lettuce was limp or not limp. We wouldn't have cared.
I do have to say, the last time we talked, when George and Cindy were talking about their 2 girls renting that house, it was like, I thought that was so cute because it just brought back all these. We all like the thing that's funny is they said that everybody. I looked back, everybody on the group goes, "Oh, look how cute that is now." And then I thought, if I was Cindy and George, I'd be thinking, "Oh God."
Well, Allison has the boyfriend. I was wondering how long they were going to last at home. That's just, you need a little, at that age, you need, whether you're, doing the
have a little
whole
space
thing
from
or
your
not,
kids. Yeah,
you just need privacy.
but I thought it's cute. I think that's cute.
Kathleen, tell the story about the static guard and the sofa better, because so remember the story about I think yeah.
It was
it's supposed to be static guard.
No, it was supposed to be Scotch Guard.
Scotch guard, not static guard.
We bought our first sofa, and we were being real proactive, and we were going to put Scotch Guard on it because we knew there would be something spilled on it. God forbid that it would be an alcoholic beverage.
Oh, okay.
We knew something was going to. So Lucy was out. I don't know where she was, but I got out the can of Scotch Guard and Scotch Guarded the whole sofa. And Frank, you called right about the time I was almost finished. And I'm sitting on the stairs. I know exactly where I was. I was sitting on the stairs that went. Remember how Lucy had the bedroom upstairs?
An attic, kind of. It was an attic bedroom.
Stairs because that's where the phone was.
Yeah.
And, pre-cell phone. So I was on the landline.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I talked to Frank, and right in the middle of the conversation, I went, "Oh shit! This is a bottle of Indust, not Scotch Guard. I Industed my entire sofa."
That would be our entire sofa.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one coat at all. It was probably
just covered.
But I love that she was talking to you, Frank. That's the part I totally missed.
So funny.
She was on the phone with you.
So,
if you think about it, they're both white, red, and gold cans. They're both white and red cans. So
easy mix.
Just don't.
And so did the Indust work out for you? Okay. Or
yeah. We took it. Thankfully, they were zipped.
that sofa never saw a speck of dust on it, did it?
It was dust.
That's funny.
And I hadn't even been drinking. There was no alcohol consumed at all.
Oh no, I believe that.
I would do this. I could see myself doing that. That's not.
And I thought I was being so good getting it done while Lucy was gone. While she was out. I don't even know where you were. That part I don't remember, but I remember exactly where I was sitting when I had the realization.
That's funny because I've been so grateful the older I've gotten that I've never had any big problems when I was drinking. But I look back when I was younger, like in college, I had a car that had 4 different front ends on it, and there was no alcohol involved. Broad daylight. There was nothing going on, and yet I still ran into shit. So,
I'll tell you the funniest, Steve, is you had that car at Baylor, that Cutlass that you had.
That was the Cutlass, yeah.
And you picked it up, and it was Rick Strange and I were following you or something. You picked it up, and it was night, and you were driving it, and we kept looking at that car, and it was like, what is under the front wheel, like where the front left wheel was shining? There was light shining down. And we were like, what the hell is it? And Rick Strange is the only one that did not know what to do. We stopped you and said, what the hell is it? And he climbed under there, and the workers had put a light, somehow they had put a light up to the car to light it while they were working on it, and they'd never taken it out. So there was this workman's light up in the wheel chassis up there. I'll never forget that. So the whole left wheel, was lit up at night. It was like the weirdest thing.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
That is funny.
But I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't remember.
Well, it's would only be with Rick Strange, and he immediately he said, well, let me look up in there. And he's climbed up underneath the car. You and I wouldn't about to climb underneath the car. Well,
no, yeah, because he was a total gearhead. I mean, he was a car guy. He was.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all ever have a cat or any animal crawl up under your car in the wintertime?
No.
To get to the warm.
I had a mouse crawl up in my car in Oak Cliff and die. Because it was,
inside the car.
huh?
Died?
Where'd it die? In the engine or in?
Like in the filtration system.
Oh, so it smelled.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was no problem at all. No problem at all.
Oh my God.
Clean it out.
That's awful.
It was yeah, because I was parked outside the house in the driveway, and
It was cold,
this
and it climbed up in there.
rodent just got up in there. And when I got it, I remember when I got it fixed, because they said, you'd be surprised how much this happens, particularly in the wintertime, because they go where it's warm.
Where it's
They'll just,
Oh God.
they'll just find someplace warm and go burrow in there, and it doesn't matter what it is. But yeah, no, that was
Some of them
adorable.
I think some of them will chew on the wires, the electrical
Oh,
they do.
stuff wires.
This one had done that too. It actually chewed wires too.
Yeah.
So
But cars
I
don't
know.
have wires anymore, do they? I thought everything's automated. I don't think they have wires like hanging out.
oh no, they had wires. No, they have wires.
Maybe he got a hold of that battery acid and that's why he died.
I don't know.
Oh, hey, so Frank, have y'all decided what you're gonna do for the holidays, or are you going to?
Well, Thanksgiving, we went yesterday to the Pendennis Club, that's the men's club, for lunch, and they're doing Thanksgiving. So we're gonna do Bob and I are gonna go to they're gonna do that, because his sister, normally like last year we went to his sisters, and this year they were gonna do it to his nephew, and he's not big on his nephew. He thinks he's kind of a dick, and they were gonna do it outside, and Bob goes, this is absurd. They're gonna do it outside on their deck. They have like 3 little love seats, and they're gonna have like 15 people out there sitting on these love seats, and in November, it could be 30 degrees out there.
Yeah.
So he told his sister, he said, listen, Frank has asthma. He's a high risk. He doesn't want to be around those people. So we were not going to do it. We were going to I was just going to order a couple of turkey pot pies personally, but we went yesterday and had lunch at the Pendennis Club, and they're having a dinner, and it's a sit down. They bring it to you. And so we're going to go do that, which will be really
What's the name of the club, Frank?
called the Pendennis Club. It's an old men's club, like downtown.
Oh, you think Ben Dennis?
Pendennis, Pendennis, Pendennis.
Ben Dennis, okay.
Pendennis Club, and it's the old men's. It's so strange. I mean, it's changed, but when you go in there, it's got like squash courts and a fitness center for men, but it's mainly eating. It's got first floor. There's a grill. Steve, we ate there in the grill. The grill has pool and snooker tables, and then there's a bar, and then the second floor has the dining room, which used to be, you had to wear a coat and tie. They had a big, huge dining room.
Sure.
And the third floor was the second floor, actually, second and third floors where the squash courts are. Third floor is a ballroom that you can rent. And then it has all these meeting rooms. Now, I have drawings to the building was built in 1920. I had to think all the meeting rooms were were card rooms for those men to go and sit, because they didn't have to work, and they'd play cards with their buddies and drink and like not get home until midnight.
I think there was a cigar or two smoked in those
Oh
rooms.
yeah. It's got like it's still got these cute like phone booths lined up in certain places, and
Wow.
and like on the first floor there's a whole lounge for women, because if a woman came in unescorted, she had to sit in there until her escort came to take her.
Oh,
She
wow.
couldn't just walk through there by herself. Yeah.
No.
But it's nice, and the food's so anyway. They do,
Is it a membership thing? It's still a
oh
club?
yeah, it's a membership deal. It's a membership deal. He's tried to get me to join. I was going to join it. It's not that expensive. But it's kind of like you have to know everybody. My problem is he knows everybody there because it's all the old Louisville families. I don't know that many people,
Right. Well, as long as he's a member, you're always with him. What does it matter?
I know. See, his father was a member. His sister had her wedding reception there. It's like the DCC, except it's just dinner.
Yeah. So where in Louisville is it? Would I know?
Right downtown. It's downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty place, isn't it, Steve? It's built in the 1920s. It's real grand, and
Is it a building, a freestanding building by itself?
Oh yeah, it is.
Is it pretty architecture?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Take a picture of it next time y'all go.
I will. Like the club has has these big columns, and they're mahogany with black marble, and the upper floor is all got these beautiful plastered ceilings, and it's a beautiful place. It's just it's like old Louisville kind of thing, and
Yeah.
it's opening because he's talking. when you go in, they have a memoriam for men that died, and it shows their wives. Because the wife, I think if you've been a member forever, the wife can still come back after the husband.
Oh, okay. Okay.
As a guest. You know?
Yeah, but you know what, Frank? I bet that's a new one in the last like 20 years. I bet that.
But the other thing they have is they go in, which is they've taken, it's now blacked over. They would have delinquent fees. If you hadn't paid your dues, they'd put your name on there. And Bob said when his father said, if I ever see your name on there, I will disown you.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, if you don't pay your dues, it shows who was delinquent on their dues.
That's pretty might get them to pay. I suppose.
Yeah. So, but it's a cool place. So anyway, and we went there for Derby. It used to be Derby Day was a huge deal. And they would show you back to the track. They don't do that anymore. But this year we went there to Derby. But this year with the COVID thing, it was so sedate. There wasn't a whole bunch of people. They had all the tables spread apart. You know, it used to be a huge buffet. They don't do buffets. It was, it was nice, but it wasn't quite what it used to be. And Thanksgiving, I think, will be similar to that. We went before all this to Easter. I guess it was a year ago, Easter. And they had this huge buffet. And I mean, the food was incredible. And it was just packed with people and really fun, really fun. Yeah. They had sort of changed it in the last like 5 years. Used to have nothing but black servers. They've sort of changed that now. But a lot of people were not crazy about that. And I did think it was kind of bad.
Yeah.
But a lot of them had been there for 40 years. A lot of them have been there forever. They know everybody by name. They know all the members.
Of course.
It's just like a country club.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Steve, are you keeping up with anybody? Any of your friends? I forgot the guy's name from work.
Jason.
Am I keeping up with them?
Jason. Talk to Jason.
Yeah, I talked to Jason today, actually.
Is Jason still there?
Yes. Yes.
What are things like there?
They're very different. It's just completely different. And there have been many thousands of layoffs this year, and there's going to be more next year, and they already know that.
Well, I'm kind of glad you're out of that. Just for not having to worry about it and the stress.
That's hard. No, that question's more complicated than you might think. It's yes and no, But anyway.
Well, Boeing's going down. I think. I don't know what's going to happen.
It's been a bad time for a lot of people, and a lot of people, and for the they've lost so many tons of money, and the stock has gone in the toilet, and that's taking away a lot of people's retirements with it.
Sure.
And it's tough. It's not a good situation at all. And so no, part of me is glad I'm not there. And we talked about this today because I said, the longer this drags on, the more untenable it gets, and the worse I feel for the people who are still there, because you've got this hanging over your head all the time, and you don't know how long you're going to be around there. And on top of that, even if you're there, you're getting furloughed for a week or two a month.
Right.
You're not getting paid. And so there's all this weirdness going on, and it's very sad. I don't have any love loss for that company because I was not.
Right.
I'm not going to go into it, but I don't have any love loss for that company. But those are real people working there, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
So,
well, on a lighter note, Field Parsons he got his first taste of car salesman last night.
Did he?
He stopped at his car has had like nothing major enough to like trade it in. I mean, he loves the car, but I just like, it's still worth, repairing it, but it's not like engine problems or anything. It's like, the air conditioning or things like that. So, but he really wants a Tacoma, the Toyota, the smaller of the two, the two trucks. Well, those trucks don't come on the market.
Really?
Ones are $30,000. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what kind of job you have, but I bought your car. So anyway, so he went in last night and he said, Mom, you can't even find him. Well, he saw one, because another funny story, a friend of his mom posted on our little chat thing that Best Buy had those big KitchenAid artisan mixers that are $500. They had them on early Black Friday for $200. So guess who bought one? Field Parsons. So,
Okay.
so I know. So when he went to pick it up, he saw, I guess there must have been a car dealership kind of by there, and he saw this used truck, and he said, Mom, I just looked because, you just never see them. And he said, I went in, I told him from the very beginning, I'm not buying a car tonight. This is, I'm dipping my toe in. I just want to see just the process and what we have to do. And of course, they did the back and forth. And the last one was a kicker. This is a new one. If you sign today, we'll do this deal.
Right.
So they told him it was 30. I'm going to throw a number out. They told him it was $36,000. Then he went back to the manager guy, and this is at the very end of the evening. And after Field's been very upfront, and he came back and he said, "Oh gosh, we made a huge mistake. That they quoted the wrong price. It's not 36, it's 38."
No, brother.
We're an honorable group, so we will honor that price if you sign tonight. Oh my God! I said,
we are
Field.
such pillars of virtue here at Toyota.
Oh my God!
Be the used car salesman.
All good on you. Yeah.
I said, you have been anointed.
That is so funny. Oh, God.
He said, and I was being really patient because the guy that I was talking to, he was a trainee. His brother or brother-in-law was his boss, or was training him, and so
Of course,
I'm being a guinea pig. It's fine.
of course.
He walked away from that and he was just a giggling. He said, "Oh my gosh, Mom." He said, "Now I get it." And I said, "Yep. Now you know why I go to Sewell and I say, show me what you got. This is what I want. What's the cheapest one?" And that's the one I want. And
I didn't think they tried to play those games anymore because
Oh,
they're not
gosh,
even
yes.
a tune because of the internet.
Tons of places still do, but
Do they really?
that's what I totally understand him getting roped into that, because it's like trying to buy a used Subaru. You can't find you can't find a used Subaru.
And Mamie wants one like yours, Steve. She wants because she loves her Forester, but the new Foresters are higher up off the ground, and my car's not that high off the ground. It's like on a car chassis, but she has to hike up to get into my car.
So Steve, is yours an Outback? What have you got?
No, it's a Crosstrek.
Crosstrek.
Okay.
But they're fairly new, so there aren't a whole lot of used.
For Subaru, they're relatively new, yeah, but
and they're expensive because those cars hold their value.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not?
No.
Oh.
No. Trust me on that. I won't tell you.
No, I mean from what they originally, the sticker price versus what they hold their values is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, they hold their value. Yes. Okay, you're talking about used cars versus new ones. Yeah, no, the new ones aren't that expensive.
Yeah.
Really?
Or I wouldn't have had one, but they're easy to get, and yeah. So, but the thing is that people driving, my lease is about to run up. I could keep getting this mail that my lease is running up in April. And I'm like, already? I just bought that car.
Yeah, it does.
Or I just leased it, but I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to go ahead and just pay it off, because they told me when I leased it, they said, if you want to buy it off at the end, here's what you'll owe. And I'm like, great, I'll take that.
That's what I do.
Because there's nothing wrong with it. Plus, it sat in the fucking carport for the last 6 months.
Right.
Hey, did y'all get a refund on your?
I shouldn't have said that, but I keep getting these other messages that said, "Oh, it's time for your 31,000 mile checkup." No, it's not. It's still at 28.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's funny. But anyway.
Any of you guys get a credit on your car insurance?
I did get a credit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I take that back. I did get one. Yeah, I did. I got like not much, but like a 20% 1 month or something.
We got credit on our medical insurance too at the company.
Really?
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Right.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a big
health insurance. Ugh.
because, well,
I'm just
yeah.
waiting. I've only got, let's see. This is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months before I can go on Medicare. I'm just counting the months down. Because it's so expensive. I'm paying almost $900 a month for health insurance.
It's awful, Frank.
And I haven't even
helping Mamie go through it.
You know?
I know. I'm helping Mamie go through it right now. We're getting ready to pick her a plan because this is December, she's 65. So,
okay, Kathleen, at some point offline, can we maybe talk about that sometime soon? Because I'm in the entrance period for signing up for it too, and
okay.
I'm getting some help outside, but it's a little confusing to me. So if you're walking Mamie through that, it might be, if I could ask you some questions.
Y'all looking at like supplemental stuff? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've got to decide which parts you want, and what
Yeah.
you can do supplemental and all of that.
Right.
And it's going to be great in the end, I know, because it's going to be a whole lot less, like Frank said, it's going to be paying a whole lot less than I'm paying right now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Because my Boeing underwriting for my insurance only lasted for 3 months. And so I'm not even going to tell you what I'm paying right now.
Yeah.
But that's okay,
Well,
because
I think-
it'll be done. It'll be January. It'll be done in January.
Bob McCoo he was embarrassed to do it, but now he's so happy he did it. You know, because he's not worked for 3 years. He's just living on his investments. He went on Medicaid because he said, I had to put down. They said, what's your income? 0. You know, and first he was just embarrassed to death, but it turns out he's got as good a health care as he had. He's going to the same doctor, he's got the same stuff, and he doesn't pay for anything.
Well, that's just another wrinkle to it. If you're on Medicaid and then go on to Medicare, that's another wrinkle. But I don't have that. So
He like I said, he was embarrassed to tell everybody. Now he's like, he'll pull it out and say, look at this, I'm on Medicaid.
Yeah. It's just another level. Like, why not?
Exactly.
Right.
no,
He can get food stamps too, Frank.
Do what?
He can get food stamps too.
I bet he can too. I hadn't thought.
No, I know he can.
Talked about that. I bet so.
Unless Kentucky is totally different than Texas.
Yeah.
Because
So
John
the
gets.
problem he had was he had United Health, which I would tell you never to get. And he had his broker had changed him over, and he had a cyst that he had to have removed. And they said it wasn't emergency surgery; it was elective surgery, and it was $12,000. And they appealed it. The first appeal fell through. They finally agreed to take it, but it took him 6 months, and he was on the phone hours and hours every week. And they were like, no. And the woman said, she told him when she goes, did you go to the emergency room? He goes, no, but I went in and saw my doctor on Friday, and he put me in the hospital on Monday to have it removed. Well, you didn't go to the emergency room, so it wasn't an emergency. It was elective surgery.
Oh, wow.
So that's when he went to Medicaid. I didn't blame him. You know, it's ridiculous.
Man.
And our friend Wendy Erler, who works in the insurance industry, because they just kept giving him hell. He kept fighting and fighting and fighting. She said that's what they're supposed to do. They will give you hell because they figure you'll eventually give up and just pay it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was awful. It was awful. So don't get in the health insurance. So I'm just be glad to get on Medicare, and I've got it. But I'm the same way. I got to come up with some supplemental stuff. And
it's affordable. It's, you know, I was looking at the cost with Mamie and you know, even the Part D drug plan. It's, you know, compared to what you were paying, it's a fraction. It's because I think everybody I know that's on their own policy, Frank, like you, is paying close to $1,000 a month.
So how much is it, Kathleen?
And on top of that, my asthma medicine, my steroid inhaler, it only kicks in after you get your deductible, which is $7,000. It's $275 a month.
Oh my God!
I have to pay. Yeah.
On top of the 900.
Yes. And my other inhaler is $60. I'm okay with it. Every time I go in, they go with the other one. They go, do you know how much this is? I said, yes, I know how much it is, because they said, well, once your deductible kicks in, then it'll cover it. But I don't spend $7,000 on it a year. but it's still
Right.
200. It was 270. It's gone down. It's about two. Actually, I think the last one was like 235 or something. And she goes, "Do you know how much it is?" I said, "How much is it? 235." I said, "Yay, that's great because I'm used to paying more."
You know, the thing
What-
about it is they've made it so user friendly. You put in there your medications, the dosage, and how often you take your medications, and then it spits out this here are your options and here's the cost. So Lucy, I can't answer your question because it depends.
Okay.
Depends on your deductible, depends on whether it's a PPO, an HMO. I mean, it's all over the place. But
Yeah.
you know, we're looking at you know, Mamie's looking at something like $300 a month for everything.
That's not
And-
bad. No.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Elena that lives below me is 74. I think she turned 75 this year. And she told me, she said, when you get ready, I'll get you hooked up with my guy. She said, I think she pays like between $200 and $300 a month. And she had both knees replaced and she said it cost her $0
Yeah.
because of the
John's been on
supplement.
it since because John was grandfathered in. He doesn't have to have a separate drug policy. It's all one. They don't offer that anymore. I think it was a Plan C. They don't offer that one anymore. They go down the alphabet. The one that Mamie's doing is G, but so he doesn't have to have a separate drug plan. He has now his drugs. He does have to pay. There is some copay on it, but all those times he's been in the hospital with the heart, with his
Covered.
stents he had, and this last one with the diverticulitis, and then the his pancreas issue. I mean, John's been in the hospital probably over a month if you add all of his times in. He has not paid one penny.
That's
Not one.
great. That is
Not one.
great.
So, but that's the plan. We got him because I knew he wasn't going to be able to do that. And now that he's on Medicaid, his rates are down to nothing. So,
Well, that's Bob was like, he was so embarrassed at first. And I said, listen, Rush told me it's great. Now he shows everybody his card and says, look at this. It didn't cost me. I had to go, what do you have to go do? And he said, it was, he said, I expected a copay. And they said, no, there's no copay. It's Medicaid. You're like, oh my God, it's $0.
yeah, it makes a huge difference. It really does.
It does.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Not, I want to get into a political discussion, but it will be interesting to see where
things go.
is next. What our next generation of healthcare is going to look like.
I agree. It's going to be so
It's not
different.
gonna affect us, but it's going to affect people that aren't employed. That it's going to affect people like Steve that aren't 65 yet and need health insurance. My friend Michael Bagg, who he hasn't worked for years, and he pays $900 and something a month.
It's crazy.
And no. He does have a reduced because he's on the marketplace, so he does get a reduced rate based on his income level, which is negligible. So he does get a reduced rate. But when that goes away, if that goes away, he'll be back up to $900 a month, and we're not close to 65 yet.
No.
Well, 5 more years.
Well,
I'll be 60 in January.
It's going to be interesting to see what the whole medical deal is going to change in the next 20 years. I mean, it just has to,
Okay, now I'm gonna get on my soapbox because Lucy and I ran into a friend of ours out in front of the grocery store, and she told us within a year, 3 siblings, younger brother, sister, and herself, all got colon cancer, and 2 of them died.
Oh my God, really?
Had they
Oh my
not
God.
been checking it?
So I'm just asking, if you haven't had a colonoscopy, I want you to go have one.
I haven't, and I'll tell you what, Rush is on me too, because, it's not just that. My grandmother died, my mother's side, my grandmother died at like 65 of bladder cancer. My grandfather on that side died of prostate cancer at like 70. Ben has already gone through radiation because of prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Russia said, we're like the highest level of, the highest we need to go.
Yeah.
Have all
And,
that
I've probably had 3 or 4, I think. And, it's
they say they're not that bad.
It's
I'll tell you the problem I had.
before the prep work is not fun.
I'll tell you what, I didn't do it is when I was like in my 50, once again, the insurance I had at Bittner's, they considered that elective surgery, so I would have to pay it completely myself. 25.
That's
$3,000.
ridiculous. I've
That's
never
where it
heard of
was.
it.
That's where it
Well-
was. I said, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
I did hear on the news that they've lowered the age. It used to be 50. They've lowered it to 45 now.
45, yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that too.
So,
And you know, I had that at 50, and I didn't have it at 60 exactly, but I had it last year. And then I won't go into the details, but they said, you know, we want you to come back
Regular.
fairly soon. And so I'm actually looking at scheduling one soon.
yeah.
It's just the prep work is such a pain, but the procedure is nothing.
Right.
The procedure is nothing.
It's a,
And
Well,
it's,
poor Lucy, she gets deathly ill. She gets like the flu, like throws up drinking that stuff. It makes her really, really
really?
sick. So for Lucy to go have one is a tall.
oh, did she hang up? Where'd she go?
I'm here.
fair.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Really?
Yeah.
You get really that crud makes
Yeah.
you. Oh my.
Yeah. It's that.
Well, gosh, bless your heart. It's bad enough as it is. But to get
Yeah.
sick like that.
It's not pleasant, but you know, I mean, it's better to do it than, you know, go through it but it makes me feel like I have the flu. I get sick and sweaty and all that.
Oh gosh.
But I mean, we've got it in our family, kind of related somewhat. Mother's younger sister died of it.
That puts you in a high
So
risk
they say
category.
Well, and
so
see,
highly, Huh?
I don't share the same genes, but my mother died from colon cancer.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. And you know what? The first time I had
So
one,
I'm very much aware of it.
my gastroenterologist, she said, Kathleen, you know, it's the only preventable cancer there is. He said, because if there's no polyp, there's no cancer.
Right.
So if we go in and remove the polyps before they get cancerous, you ain't gonna get it.
Right.
So,
Well, for men, the prostate cancer, if they catch it early, like Ben, you know, they do radiation. It's like 98. It has like a 98%.
It's
Right.
very treatable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very treatable. Because a friend of mine, and I'm working on a project with him. I met with him this week, and on this project, he said, "Guys, you're a friend of mine. I can tell you." He said, "I just today was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I'd like just made me sick." But I told him, I said, "You need to talk to my brother because he said, I'm not doing that. They want me to do surgery. I'm not doing the surgery." I said, "What about the radiation?" "I'm just doing the radiation." I said, "Well, you gotta talk to my brother Ben. He did the radiation. It wasn't that bad." He goes, "Well, it's 5 days. It's like it's every day. It's like 5 days a week for like 12 weeks." I said, "Well, that's, you know, you just work
the
like that."
alternative?
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Right.
So I don't know. I hate this getting old. This getting old sucks.
I know.
Okay, so let's end on a happy note. We got to end on something happy because I got to get off. So something
Okay,
happy.
well, wait a minute, Lucy. Did you tell him what happened to you this morning? You have to tell the story. You have to tell the story. It's not a happy thing, so we'll do a happy thing. But this is the most bizarre story, I think.
So I don't know if y'all have heard me talk about it. I have a friend, Mary Kay Green, and she's got diabetes, and she's had lots of she has not been in good health for like 5 years. Anyway, she has been declining rapidly in the last couple of months, and so they put her on hospice, and there is a hospital here in Dallas, which is actually T. Boone Pickens, it's a beautiful place to go if you're gonna, you know, have the end of your life. But at any rate, it took her over there on Tuesday, and so they opened the doors at 8, so I went at 8 o'clock this morning to see her and, you know, whatever. And so I go into her, they, you know, take your temperature and all that kind of stuff. And I tell them where I'm going, and they say room 206, and you can just go in and, you know, see anybody. Anyway, so I found a room. I walked in and I looked down. I was like, she didn't look so good. Like her coloring was like really not good, and she wasn't moving. So I was like, okay, let me look at her chest and see if it's, you know, going up and down. It wasn't moving. So I backed up out of the room, went down to the nurse's station, and I said, I've found some very young little girl, and she was like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Well," that I've actually come to see Mary Kay Green, but I don't believe she's still alive. And she goes, oh, well, let me go check. So she goes down to the room with me and she checks for pulse and she goes, well, yeah, she doesn't look very good. I was like, I know.
Yeah.
So, let me check.
Sherlock.
Let me check her pulse. So she puts her hand, on her neck and she goes, well, I feel a very faint pulse.
Did they
But
never
let me go get, huh?
They didn't ever hooked up to the machine?
And she said, but I feel a very faint pulse, but let me go get her nurse. And I was like, okay, that's probably a good idea. So I'm standing there and, her eyes were closed, or so I thought. And I walked around to the far side of the bed. Well, one eye was closed on this side. The other one was open. So I was like, this is bizarre. So is she alive? Is she not? I don't know. So I just started praying. I just started praying over her and just, whatever. And, put my hand on her arm and, it was pretty chilly. Anyway, the nurse that's been attending to her finally comes in and she goes, oh, yes. Well, Mary Kay died at 2:00 this morning. And I was like,
so she was dead?
Yeah, for 6 hours.
Hours later.
And they were just she was laying there?
Yes.
And
Good Lord.
it deals with death, multiple deaths every day.
And
Yes.
they just left her there? I can't imagine that.
Yes.
Well, what Mamie said was, and this makes sense, Lucy, because she said it to you too. What makes sense is they had just, brought her in. She hadn't even been there hardly 24 hours. So it just probably, she didn't have a regular staff or whatever, but can you believe that? I mean,
That's
this
horrible.
place is like Taj Mahal. And I was just so shocked that there wasn't even so much as a Post-it note on the door saying,
That's horrible.
Go to the nurse's station.
Yeah, I can't believe they don't have a protocol where they would, one,
Close it off.
put a sheet over their head or close
Lock
the door. Yeah, and put a note on saying, go to the nurse's station before you enter this room, or what I would do is remove the body and take it to another room someplace. And if somebody wanted to go see the person, then they could take them there. But
to have somebody just walk in on a dead body.
Terrible.
I mean,
and then the nurse telling her, oh, I think there's a faint pulse there. After the
she didn't feel it.
I think that nurse's aide needs to go back to the training room.
No kidding.
She didn't know the difference between a pulse and no
like something out of a
pulse.
movie. That is really sick.
It was
really
something else.
That
Well,
is-
when I yeah.
Weird, because all I know about hospice is a couple of incidences, including my mother that was on hospice, and she had a lot of attention when she passed, but she was at home. She was also at home.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, 6 hours later, there's not probably a whole lot they could do. I didn't expect anybody to be there, but
yeah, I don't know.
That's probably been able to tell.
That really surprised me, just by virtue of how that works, because it seems like there would have been plans in place to foresee that eventuality and to deal with it.
yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying, Lucy. This is what they do all day, every day. Multiple times a day. And I would think
It's
They're obviously overrun with too many
what they do,
problems.
and God bless them, because who wants to,
right. If nothing else, put the sheet over the head. If you don't have time to do
Absolutely.
the other stuff. But I think, Frank, you asked, were there any machines? Well, when you're on hospice, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't do the machines. Is that right?
there aren't.
Beep, beep, beep,
Right.
at the nurse's station that yes, expired.
Mother was on no machines when she.
Yeah.
But 6 hours, rigor mortis would have started setting in by then. They're gonna have to
Lucy, did it smell in there like it did when Mother died?
There was an odor, but see, I had the mask on,
Oh, yeah.
so I couldn't
Like I said, you didn't touch
smell.
her.
But after I stood there for a while, I was
her.
like, it's not smelling so good in here, and
Touch her.
there's no movement.
I bet she wouldn't. I bet it'd been cold. The body would have been cold. She would have not been warm.
Lucy said it was. She touched her hand, and it was.
Yeah,
It
she was
was
very
Well,
cool. I didn't
Lucy, I'm sorry. Again, this was this morning. This was today.
I'm
Bless
sorry.
your
Her
heart.
day started.
this morning.
Bless your heart. Okay. Well, that's wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have
On a good note,
who has a
Well,
happy
I'll
topic?
tell you, y'all can think about me. I'm trying to paint my bedroom, and I've been doing it for a week now. I've got about 2/3 of it done. Well, it's 12'6" tall. So I've got this 8-foot ladder. I'm climbing up at night, trying to do it. And I'm trying to sleep in there with the dog. And you know, it just not.
Wait a minute, you're painting and then you're sleeping in the same room that you're painting.
Well, 2 nights I didn't. I slept out here, but the dog didn't like it. So I'm painting because he likes sleeping there. So we tried to sleep in there. I've got the bed and everything pushed against one wall. Now I've got that one side done. I've got to push it back. So I've got about 2/3 of it done, but it is so slow. And I'm so afraid I'm going to like step back off the ladder or drop a bucket of paint or, you know, me painting is not a good idea.
Frank, have you ever thought about reversing your day and painting in the morning and then working later at night? At least there's some.
I end up doing it late at night, right before I go to bed. I think, oh man, I'll go throw a couple of slap on some paint, you know.
Are you using that the low odor paint?
Yeah, it's not bad. It doesn't smell too bad. Maybe it's not real bad. It is in the room.
Lucy bought when she painted Field's room because we found it out later, but there is a paint that specifically says low odor.
Right. Yeah,
so
no, this isn't that. But
and sleep in the same day.
It dries pretty quick, but the problem is, like I said, and like, so originally I was going to paint all just with a brush because I wanted to have this brush look on the walls. Well, that got through one coat. That takes forever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to and so, but then with the roller, I want to put the roller, I'm afraid to put the roller up on the ladder because I'm afraid I'll knock it off. So I'm like, got the pan on the floor and then I pull it up and I do a couple of slaps, just everywhere.
What color are you painting?
White. Everything's white. The floors are white. I painted the floors white, the ceiling's white. So I'm doing all the walls white. It's the bedroom. It's a platform bed. I'm going to paint the platform bed white. All the bedding's white. So everything in the room is going to be white. And I've got these lamps I made that are white. So everything in the room is white. That's the whole idea. It's just going to be a white on white on white on white.
There
that was the idea. Bob McCool's like, well, I like the color of the walls. I was like, yeah, well. And the problem is they're kind of a taupey color. And I thought, oh, this will go over in like a coat or two. 3 coats and it's still showing through,
Oh, gosh, that's terrible.
Did you put the kills on it first?
No, I just started slapping the paint on. I just
always told me that Walter, that's why Walter's house was like completely beige, because he looks at color all day long. And isn't that what he said to you, Lucy? And so when he goes home, he didn't want more of that. He just wanted calm and.
Well, my loft, like the main room, there's no color. I mean, there's the wood tones and leather tones. No, there's not a single color except for brown or white or black.
Yeah.
But same thing, because it's so soothing to me because it's just you go to these places and it's chaotic, with all this stuff. And so that's why the bedroom. I just decided I wanted. It was kind of a taupey white, and I thought white on white on white on white will look great. It'll look clean, and
everything matches.
Yeah. Of course, then I have a dog that's black and brown, and so there's black hair everywhere.
Well, as long as you don't get it mixed in the paint on the wall.
I haven't yet.
Yeah, I think you'll be good.
You're funny.
And I have one more happy thing to say. I mean, it's a sad happy thing. Bailey had, she got cancer again, and she had sarcoma on her back right hip, exact same place where it was a year ago. But she went and had it taken out yesterday.
How's she doing?
She got a big old scar like that long, and she's all shaved back there. But she's happy. She's down there taking a little snooze.
Can she walk on it? I mean, she's on her leg.
Yeah. She was. I would say that she favored it more this time because she had it done in May of last year. And I would say she favored it more this time than she did the last surgery. But I think that this vet took more out. I think she took wider margins, although I told the other vet, I said, take out, go way beyond that so we can get all the margins out. So I feel like probably they did a little bit more thorough job.
Well, as long as she can handle it, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I've got her on tramadol, but.
Well, I did that with my, my John Boy that had the osteosarcoma he was on like 20 of those a day by the time he passed.
Yeah. But she's doing good, so that was a happy thing.
He had no pain. It worked great.
That is good. That is good.
That is good. So
thank God for that.
Can I just ask real quick to Lucy and Kathleen or whoever knows? So it's okay, this is total change of subject, but it's okay to send like a get well quick message to Cindy? Is that okay? Is that okay?
I think yeah.
Text him one to Lucy.
Good Lord.
Yeah, no, I absolutely.
Were you doing drugs back just that minute?
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I think it's perfectly fine, particularly since she sent Frank
George did, yeah.
Frank the message. Kathleen, George, George said that, you know, Cindy had the hip surgery and all that kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
I'd
like to say it, just send, you know, hello, and yeah.
I think she'd really like that. I really do think she'd really like that. You know, she's so private, but since they've said something about it, yes, I think it's fine.
Well, I'm the same way. That's why I'm asking, because I would be very particular about who, you know, you know, just like don't like putting that stuff out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, good. Okay.
Maybe we'll see her in 2 weeks. That'll be fun.
Also, yeah.
All
right.
Okay. Love y'all.
Love you too. We'll
Hey,
talk to you.
Thank you guys. See you later.
All right.
Let me get on my scout call now.
Bye.